The site is a super-regional mall with 1.23 million square feet of gross leasable area on a large plot of land of 103 acres. It is located in the suburb of Gatesburg in Montgomery County, Maryland, 17 miles northwest of Washington, D.C. Lakeforest Mall was originally built in the 1970s with first achievements in mall construction and was renovated in the year 2000. The changing market trends post-2007 have been forcing the reevaluation of the property from its primary focus of a retail center. This study examines current status and trends impacting the macro and micro economies and provides an analysis of the site's potential for office, residential, and retail development. The study will conclude with recommendations proposing a potential mixed-use development. The site is well located on the I-270 corridor and has the potential to become a successful mixed-use development. To achieve that, it would have to create a live-work-play environment that can be supported by office space, residential units, and a destination retail center with reach beyond its primary trade. So let's see how it all plays out. These are photos of the existing site. We can see how the mall is outdated. A brief executive summary. The office market. Since the economic recession, the market has undergone changes and shifts that change the demographics, employment, and economic makeup of the region, which poses new challenges in the office market. The market is burdened by declining government presence, shrinking office space, and an oversupplied market of aging office parks and buildings. Furthermore, employment growth is not strong enough to offset the loss of office-using jobs and government offices. Office development in this market can be speculative and risky, and many developers are encouraged to pre-lease or build to suit. A unique combination of lack of viable office space and an oversupply of dated buildings creates an opportunity for a small Class A building for the growing white-collar community. But caution should be applied to avoid speculative venture. Residential market. Empty nesters want to remain in the area but downsize their homes to luxury apartments and condos. Young millennials are attracted to quality of life in the area, and older millennials are building families and are in need of housing which is affordable compared to DC market rates. The target consumer requires a mix dominated by smaller units. Due to mediocre local school district, a residential development should focus on the competitive advantage of providing housing that meets today's needs over the aging surrounding developments which may not appeal to families with children. The neighborhood will continue to be dominated by renter-occupied units and small households. We should also consider that the assigned schools in the area are mediocre by views of parents, but private schools are excellent. It may slightly impact the marketability of the residential project and should be taken into mind. Retail market. The surrounding area is home to extensive retail development with additional projects in the pipes of approval. Nevertheless, consumer spending supports capture rate projections for a small additional retail development on the property. A lifestyle center should offer qualities that make it a multi-purpose leisure time destination with upscale or trendy restaurants and entertainment, as well as on-site design elements such as fountains, abundant landscaping, and outdoor seating areas. The right mix of products and services should create synergy between the uses and should not rely solely on the residents and employees on site. While residents and office day population may enjoy the on-site neighborhood goods and services and the variety of food and beverage, the anchors in general merchandise, apparel, furnishing, and other merchants should appeal to customers from a larger trade area. In conclusion of the executive summary, the site is located in a prime location, which we will demonstrate on the next slide, on the popular I-270 corridor. There's an oversupply of aging office buildings which don't meet the needs of the contemporary employment, especially in the sectors that are typical to this market. It's in great contrast with the demand for retail and residential which supports a new and specific mixed development. The site is uniquely positioned for mixed use with the large plot of 103 acres, and it already includes ponds and green areas, as well as infrastructure for parks and community amenities. The site is easily accessible by vehicle and has a growing population with demand for apartments and homes with short commute to work and walkable retail amenities for food and board. This project presents a prime development location of 17 miles northwest of District of Columbia, 1 mile east of I-270 and bound by 3 main routes in the heart of Montgomery County, Maryland. The location is characterized with great accessibility and visibility. I-270 is the primary feeder for the site and has a daily traffic count of 175,000 cars west of the property. Montgomery Village Avenue has a daily traffic count of 72,000 cars from the I-270 toward the property. Frederick Avenue, another main corridor feeding the property, has 33,000 cars traveling daily northward, and at the intersection with Montgomery Avenue has a traffic of 45,000 cars traveling daily toward the property. Traffic heading to the property from the east on Highway 124 has a count of 21,000 cars. The Gaithersburg Mark Rail Service Station is located approximately 1.5 miles from the site, and the local bus lines run nearby. Nevertheless, the neighborhood has been developed as an auto-centric suburb, and most employees commute by car. The site includes attractions such as a shopping mall and 2 ponds. It's mostly flat, gaining slight elevation toward Montgomery Village Avenue and Lost Knife Road, which could require grading to increase visibility. Overall, the site is suited for large development. The following assessment will present data and its interpretation regarding office use for the subject site. STA, secondary trade area. PTA, primary trade area. The following maps of the market trade area with primary and secondary trade areas are supported by an analysis of market conditions and fundamentals, trends, and initiatives. The secondary trade area, as shown in a pink dotted line, includes a time range of 25 minutes commute time for workers and shoppers, and is bound by natural topography, access roads, and concentration of populations. The primary trade area, as shown in green, is determined by the measured general commute time being 10 to 15 minutes, with consideration of natural geography, accessibility, demographics, and economic activities. The mean travel time to work in the city of Gaithersburg is 32 minutes, according to the United States Census Bureau, 2011 to 2015. Employment. The Montgomery County's total employment rose 3.8% during 2010 to 2013, while office-using jobs in the centers of information, financial, and professional and business services are responsible to a decline of 6.3% combined, and state government cut down by 6.4%. Leading office-using fields, such as IT and financial activities, shed 16.7% and 11.2% of their jobs respectively in the county between 2004 and 2013. At the same time, office space used per employee has dropped from 250 square feet in the heyday of the baby boomers to 180, and is expected to drop further to 160 square feet per employee. It is a nationwide phenomenon, typical to millennial workers using workspace in a different way, use of flexible space and communal work area. According to Site-Wise Resident and Workforce Demographics Report of 2016, Montgomery citizens are well educated. 46.4% of residents have a bachelor's degree or higher. 65% of them are white-collar. A well-educated local workforce is necessary for some of the advanced white-collar jobs companies have to offer. Montgomery County recorded a nearly 15% vacancy rate, with Gaithersburg absorbing 3.75 million square feet of the 4.23 million available. Gaithersburg has a 7.5 million square feet of office space, and most buildings are older than 15 years. Rental rates have declined from $22 to $24 per square foot. Because of the lack of available office space east of I-270, there was a need for a new office building. We'll review competition shortly. In Montgomery County, from 2002 to 2013, 11.1 million square feet of office supply was delivered, with 7.7 million square feet being absorbed. The occupancy rate declined since 2006 from 91% to 85.2% in 2014. In 2013, 9.4 million square feet of office space sat vacant throughout the county, and by 2014, the county recorded a vacancy rate of 14.8%, as indicated in this table. This table gives us a broad view of the projected vacancy rates and the office space status in Montgomery County. In Montgomery, the government's footprint is shrinking, and GSA leases are replaced in county private space, with 20% reductions in space leased. 25% to 35% of private tenants have new needs from office space, and as a result, will relocate, renovate, or reorganize office space in the next 5 years. Office square feet per employee will be decreased by 11%, from 180 to 160 square feet per employee. Existing buildings will be removed from the competitive office inventory through conversions or demolitions. The annual absorption is great, but we still remain with high vacancy rates of 10% to 15% for the coming years, which is risky for office development. This table compares the basic features of the office buildings in the submarket of the site. The set of comparable office buildings range between 100,000 and 130,000 square feet, and are located within 2 miles from the site and in the I-270 corridor. Most of the competition in the submarkets is old and outdated, and it doesn't offer the amenities new tenants would look for. The newest building was built in the year 2000, so they're all older than 17 years, and rents range between $23 and $27 per square foot. Note the high vacancy of over 36% for more than half of the buildings. Only one building is occupied 100%. It's encouraging for the Lakeforest site since it's the closest office building. Here we can see there's not much new office space around the site. 76.6% of the office space is under construction. The approved office development is the highest in the county, which shows a growing demand. Absorption rate is 60%, and population has increased in recent years. The I-270 corridor is oversupplied with old buildings and lacks updated office space and mixed-use developments. A new office building of Class A in a mature suburban community that is located near the main traffic routes like this one can attract target companies and even compete with the CBD of Washington, D.C. market. The location provides excellent access for work commuters using the I-270, Frederick Avenue, Intercounty Corridor Highway 200, Highway 97 leading northward, and Highway 650 to get to work on site from neighboring towns of Damascus and Clarkburg, Montgomery Village, Germantown, Rockville in the south, and the rural areas in between them. The neighborhood has been developed as an auto-centric suburb, and most employees commute by car an average of 32 minutes. New office developments and redevelopments of existing supply reflect the market's desire for denser, mixed-use settings. Small suburban office buildings that are found along major routes, which are adjacent to retail centers and multifamily residential complexes, tend to appeal to a diverse group of users. In a market of high vacancy rates, the proposed building should be a small, low-rise and should not exceed 100,000 square feet. At this size, it can accommodate approximately 550 employees on site, using 180 square feet each. It will be as sustainable as possible to attract modern tenants and generate top market rates. Developers should be able to transfer some of the cost savings due to sustainable features onto the tenants. The buildings should offer flexible amenities that are adjustable to pre-leased needs. Use and ownership. The primary target of the office building would be health, technology, and biotechnology sectors, which typically pay higher income. Some tenants could be branch offices of corporations, while others can provide professional or medical services to business and neighborhoods nearby. It could also accommodate entrepreneurs who seek smaller, flexible office space, who would be attracted to a bundle of amenities in vicinity to the residence, retail, and public and private services which are abundant in that area. Developers should pre-lease at least 70% of occupancy to avoid speculations and redundant risks. Amenities. The neighborhood offers many services that would appeal to office workers. It offers public parks, golf courses, public services, hotels, banks, and a variety of retail, food, and entertainment. Additional amenities would be added to the redevelopment of a shopping center on site that will offer qualities of a multi-purpose leisure time destination, with upscale or trendy restaurants and entertainment, as well as on-site elements such as fountains, abundant landscaping, and outdoor seating areas on site. Market trade area boundaries. Secondary trade area, in orange, marks the area that includes families and individuals from the greater D.C. area and similar suburbs and cities to a new residential development in Gaithersburg. D.C. residents may seek newer and less pricey homes, yet remain within 20 minutes of a commute time to work. In particular, I-270 corridor is more likely to attract residents into the new development. Primary trade area, in blue, marks the submarket of Gaithersburg/Germantown, which is greater than the city of Gaithersburg itself. According to the U.S. Census Bureau's Quick Fact statistic, July 1st of 2015 in Gaithersburg, 67,000 residents resided in a square mile, a 12.6% increase from the census tract of 2010. The city of Gaithersburg recorded a population growth of 12.02% from 2010 to 2015. This data, compared with the rate of 7% growth in Montgomery County and 4.1% in the United States, indicates a faster influx of residents into the immediate area of the site, the city of Gaithersburg. We can see a trend of the young resident age of 35.7 compared with the 38.3 for the state of Maryland, according to city data. Now, young and educated people and families have been moving into the city of Gaithersburg at a greater pace than into other parts of the county and the state. Interestingly, the Wall Street Journal claims that between 2010 and 2012, the D.C. metro area saw the biggest gain in the country in the millennial bracket. Livability reveals that Gaithersburg is ranked 6th in the country in the highest concentration of the county of older millennials of ages 30 to 34. They get married, bring kids, and establish their own homes and economies that are knowledge-based and thriving. The fact that 65.13% of these people are white-collar is a further indication of the growing young and educated population with higher income. In 2015, the PTA population is well employed, with 68.9% of 16 years and older. According to city data, local unemployment was 3.9% in September 2015, compared with the 5% rate of Maryland and 5% nationwide recorded by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. In addition, the city of Gaithersburg shares that 20.8% of the workforce works locally in Gaithersburg, and 71.2% works in Montgomery County. That is an important factor we should keep in mind for further office market assessment, as 92% of Gaithersburg workforce, or 33,369 employees, whose majority are white-collar, commute within the boundaries of the county. Gaithersburg's population density is 6,046 people per square mile and is considered high. We see that 55% of units are owners occupied with over 67% small family households averaging 2.82 people. That means small families. The median value of owner-occupied housing units, 2011 to 2015, is $329,000 and is lower than the city of Gaithersburg, and the $475,000 in the District of Columbia. Young families are encouraged to move to the area, especially if the members of their family have plenty of employment opportunities in the area. It may be a consideration for selling condos. On the other hand, median gross rent continues to increase, which lends consideration for renting units, or a combination thereof. The rental competition under 1.5 miles from the site is limited, which drives up rents, low vacancy, and healthy rent escalation. While all 10 comps are dated buildings from the years 1972 to 1990, they have a solid occupancy with the occupancy of 1.1% to 2.9%. The highest current value is 7.4% for Orchard Pond Apartments, which is a large and old complex that was built in 1973. The median asking rent of $1,436 shows solid growth of 2.6% on a 5-year annualized, stronger than the region's averages. The most expensive comparable is the aging Town Crest Apartments in town, with asking rent of $1,711. It offers a poor variety of amenities, yet located in a quiet, less trafficked, and less commercial location. Convenient roads and bus transit support a new residential traffic. In the past 4 years, new apartment units have been erected along Frederick Avenue within 1.2 miles of the site. This project will compete directly with the development on site. However, it substantiates the need for newer housing with better amenities. The Spectrum Avenue property is an example of what could be built as the Russell Avenue site on a much larger scale. Indeed, the site of the property represents an opportunity for a dense urban-style development catering to residents. The location is currently home to majority non-family households, reflecting the commercial character of the neighborhood and a below-average school district. These are 5 photos from 5 comps in the submarket. Overall, some of them have nice amenities, but it is possible to see from the images that the complexes are outdated and do not entice the target market we are seeking. The existing submarket housing inventory tends to be dated and cannot serve well the needs of millennials. The old 70s to 80s style of apartment complexes rely on suburban auto-centric communities. Today's renters and buyers prefer smaller housing units in exchange for good location and walkable communities offering a variety of amenities. In light of rising sale prices and rents currently requested at the DC Metro, the submarket will continue to become target-driven by affordability. Asking rent for newer housing units built after 2009 is $1,801, and is significantly higher by 15 to 25% than that of the old inventory. Yet those apartments represented only 11% of the submarket's inventory. In the submarket, there is a lack of smaller units, as studio apartments represent only 0.8% of the housing inventory. Its efficiency/studios average 515 square feet and have an average asking rent of $2.46 per square foot, well over that of the $1.55 per square foot for a 3-bedroom apartment. High demand drives asking rent growth of 4.3% on 5-year annualized basis, compared with a modest growth of 1.6% for larger units. The population of the site's district grew 10% from 2000 to 2010, and nearly another 10% by 2015, and housing supply is behind the curve. To match this growth, new housing units in the district can increase by up to 600 new units to meet the current demand. The submarket is predominantly comprised of multifamily residential, and below-average schools may deter the families from considering the location elsewhere. Consequently, new residential development would maximize success by offering a higher ratio of rental units versus units for sale, and that mix should be dominated with smaller units. Consequently, 80% of 500 units or 400 units will be designated for rental and 100 units for sale. In keeping with the trend of smaller households and the unmet demand for studios, the development should be weighted towards smaller and high-end units, as shown in these tables. The analysis of retail market will outline the local residential demographics, retail demand by capture rates, retail supply, and eventually will provide an outlook on the site potential for retail development. Market trade area boundaries. The second trade area, yellow, consists of a 12-mile radius with driving time and competition as primary considerations. The primary trade area, red lines, is the immediate area of the city of Gaithersburg. The competition in Germantown and Frederick limits the trade area to the northwest, while competition from Rockville and Bethesda limits the market to the southeast. The trade area is practically restricted by Bethesda to the south, and its PTA reaches Rockville. There is no regional shopping mall covering the PTA of the site. Currently, the site is Lakeforest Mall, one of the largest, most jam-packed malls in the Washington metro area. There are over 160 shops geared to satisfy anyone's needs. The following analysis discusses the feasibility of the site remaining a retail center with trade area that stretches between Clarksburg and Rockville. The high traffic count previously detailed and proximity to the interstate and retail corridor offer great potential for retail development. Currently, the property is buffered by trees and does not enjoy clear visibility from Montgomery Village Avenue, but a redevelopment of the site can address this issue. The high population density surrounding the site increases demand for a retail center. Countywide estimated the median household income in 2013 was $79,420, compared to the $78,441 for the city of Gaithersburg. There are 31,422 households in 2015 with the following income distribution: under $49,000, 31.66%, between $49K and $99K, 31.45%, over $99K, 36.88%. There are 48,753 employees with the estimated median income of $74,000 in 2015. The Reading Retail Center needs to create a mix of products and services that would draw more shoppers from STA boundaries. The households in the PTA spend their income on the following categories. In the following list, the type of retail location is associated with the expenditure which takes place and the total amount spent on that category. This data is necessary for capturing the sales for each category at our side, which we will demonstrate shortly. We can see the largest expenditure in the PTA are grocery and a lot of dining out. In fact, there is a growth of expenditures on all restaurants. We can see the significance of spending on department stores and big boxes, with the leading categories of clothing and electronics. And law offices and small shops have their fair share in the spending. In this analysis, we are looking at the final projected site capture rate for each category of retail after we discounted it by the individual impact of all competing retail development in the submarket. The initial capture is reasonable for the market: 40% for NG&S's, neighborhood grocery and services, 28% for food and board, and 10% for general merchandise, apparel, furnishing, and other. The competing sites are biting into our project's capture rate depending on its strength of offering and distance from our site. The end result is that the site's capture rate is 20% for NG&S's, 16% for F&B's, and only 3% for GAFO, which means that we would have to be very careful with our choice of GAFO retail. Next, we will determine square feet of demand by multiplying the total aggregated sales of the retail category with its capture rate and dividing by the sales per square foot. Now we receive the square feet of demand for our site in each retail category. This table projects 296,246 square feet of demand for retail price by 2020 at the site. The 103-acre site of Lakeforest Mall currently offers 1.23 million square feet of GLA, out of 8 million square feet of retail products and services scattered in the PTA. The site captures roughly 180,000 square feet of NG&S retail, 60,000 of F&B, and 31,000 of GAFO retail products. That's a total of 280,870 square feet of demand for a retail space in 2015, around 23% of what it offers today. Given the scattered competition and the assessment that not all proposed and approved development projects will break ground, reducing the retail footprint of Lakeforest Mall to 280,870 square feet by itself will create unmet demand. At a mixed-use development, we perceive that dedicating only 200,000 square feet for retail will be met with solid demand and will likely reduce risk exposure significantly. Shopping malls continue to suffer of competition from online commerce, and may have to change their product mix and environment to provide entertainment and become an attraction to families and individuals. We see more spending in restaurants than on buying groceries. Growing local economy is one of the prerequisites for success and a mixed-use development. Gaithersburg has become a preferred market for older millennials of age 30 to 34. Followed by the second largest segment of empty nesters who would like to remain in the suburban Maryland, but downsize to luxury apartments and condo units. Both sectors prefer smaller to mid-sized units of up to 3 bedrooms. Developing a successful mix in which all uses enhance each other is not an easy achievement. The uses should be compatible, complementary, and mutually supportive to create synergy between them. Total of 500 units are split between 400 for rent and 100 for sale. Rental units offer more with small units. 100,000 square feet class office building, and a 250,000 square feet lifestyle of a retail center that offers a variety of amenities. Just about half is neighborhood products and services, including a small grocery store or pharmacy. 22% will be dedicated to full and quick service restaurants, offering hot, upscale, and aspirational brands of GAFO products, including a small anchor of 25,000.